Hello, folks. Chad Slagle, president and founder of Slagle Financial here. I want to thank all of you for taking time out of your schedules to watch the video today, which I promise is full of info and strategies that you need to know now. Before I jump in, though, I want to make sure all of you are getting my email, The Thought of the Week. I send out every week on Thursdays that hits on what's happening in the markets today. If for some reason you are not getting that email, please call our office and let the team know that you want to be added to the list. So there are three things, in my opinion, that will kill your retirement: the stock market, taxes, and long-term care, or an extended stay in a nursing home or long-term care facility. The first one, market risk, we've already taken care of by getting your proper safe risk ratio set up with our financial GPS and your blueprint if you're currently working with our firm. The next two could not only be detrimental to you, but also to your beneficiaries. First of all, let's discuss taxes. Taxes are going up. Back in the fall of 2022 at our client event, we had David Walker speak to our clients. David served as the Comptroller General of the United States under both Bill Clinton and George W. Bush. Since leaving government in 2008, he has been focused on spreading awareness and talking about the national debt, which is now over $33 trillion. He was the CPA for the United States government and has written several books, including Come Back America, Turning the Country Around, Restoring Fiscal Responsibility. And he believes by 2030, federal taxes could be double today's levels unless major reforms are made to current government programs and policies. Why? Well, first of all, Social Security, as we all know, is a huge problem and hasn't been changed since 1983. According to the Social Security Administration, benefits are now expected to become exhausted in 2037. At that point, you will only get 76% of your benefits that you're getting now. Inflation hasn't been this high since the early 80s. Then, of course, we have the pandemic, when our country was completely shut down, added another $6.25 trillion in debt. Now, of course, somebody has to pay for this. So what happened? Congress went out and passed the Secure Act in 2020, which took away the multi-generational IRA, which allowed your beneficiaries to take any qualified funds you left them, IRAs, 401ks, etc., and draw them out over their entire life expectancy. Now, think about that. This is money that has never been taxed, and now they have to draw that money out when you leave it to them over 10 years. And many experts believe there will be further changes to come. One of those, of course, will take effect here in 2026, and this is already baked into the current legislation. Income tax are set to go back up to what they were in 2017. And as I mentioned earlier, Mr. Walker, Ed Slott, David McKnight, and other tax experts expect in 2030 there will be even more increases. And a lot of our clients right now, they fall into that 12 to 22% tax bracket, which will be going up to as much as 25%. So if you're a married couple making $125,000 a year and one of you passes away, your spouse could be paying over 28% a year in taxes. And that doesn't include the state income tax. So in order to get your financial house in order, you have to set your investable assets up into three different buckets tax-wise: the taxable bucket, the tax-deferred bucket, and the tax-free bucket. Now, how much should be in each bucket? Everyone is going to be a little different, but generally speaking, you should make sure that you have 6 months worth of income in that taxable bucket. That's the money you can get to right now in case of an emergency, or if an extra big expense were to come up, like a furnace, new roof, etc. The other bucket, the tax-deferred bucket, will vary a little bit for some. You know, if you have a pension or other incomes coming in, but as a general rule, you'll want to make sure that you have enough in this bucket coming in so you qualify for that standard deduction of $27,700. So you probably want to have in the neighborhood of $500,000 sitting in that bucket. And of course, the tax-free bucket is everything else. So this bucket grows tax-free, and also when you draw money from this bucket, it's all tax-free income for you. So it doesn't matter what the tax rates are in the future, you have insulated yourself from any of the future increases. So when we look at your particular situation, let's say you have $2 million in investable assets, and the majority of that is in qualified accounts, IRAs, 401ks, etc. And your income right now, you need about $120,000 a year, which puts you in that 22% tax bracket. Your income comes from Social Security, which is about $4,000 a month, and your pension is $5,000 a month. So that leaves you with a shortfall of $3,000 a month that you will need to draw from your account. So you don't need all that income to live off of. So with that amount of income, that puts you squarely in that 22% tax bracket. And in that bracket, you can make all the way up to $190,000 before you bump into the next bracket. So that gives you $70,000 a year for the next 7 years that you can reposition into the appropriate buckets. So the first thing we have to do, though, we have to pay taxes at the current rate on that money, which will be $19,810. That will leave you with almost $51,000, which we want to make sure we allocate just enough to cover your long-term care expenses of $450,000 a year, which will take $25,000 a year. Another 25, 26 you can convert to a Roth IRA. So after 7 years, you will have converted almost $500,000 into tax-free accounts. And now you also have $250,000 growing in a Roth IRA, assuming an 8% growth rate, all tax-free income for you and for your family. You also now have $450,000 for long-term care, and if you don't use it or use just a part of it, the remainder will go to your beneficiaries tax-free. And if you need income from what you put into that long-term care life account, it has a cash value of over $160,000 that continues to grow every year, even though you are no longer adding to that you can draw out tax-free as well if you need it. Now, most people have a goal of how much they want to accumulate before they retire. So if your goal was $2 million in this scenario, that's great. The problem is you don't have $2 million because the IRS has to get their cut. That could be 20, 30% or more. So it's up to you on how much you and your family are able to keep. And if you're sitting there today, folks, and you have over $750,000 or more in your investable assets, this is planning that you have to do now. Now, I know a lot of you are going to have questions on this. That's why we encourage you to call our offices at 888-294-9248 to set up a time to meet with your advisor to insulate you from this upcoming tax bomb. We look forward to meeting with you all soon.